Item number 10.
Well, good evening to those of you who are remaining. Jordan Glass for Gilda Harbor. I understand that the board of directors at Gilda Harbor have agreed to put in composting toilets prior to the end of 2012. The problem with this, as I presented to you before, is that composting toilets don't satisfy the New York State law. They also present a very obvious problem in that they require electricity. And they require electricity both for running the system itself as well as for generating heat, a heating unit within the system. Here's the obvious problem. Many of the units on Hen Island don't have electricity. So how are they going to power these composting toilet systems? The second issue is the composting systems themselves don't handle gray water. Gray water from the showers, from the sinks, and from the toilets themselves. So that's the second problem that they won't be able to deal with. The third problem is that there's no backup system for what happens when the composting toilets fail. When they fail, they have to, the refuse has to be stored in 55-gallon drums, left out in the sun for a year. The island itself isn't set up to be able to do that. Tonight we heard, I think the gentleman's name was Mr. McComb, talk about his environmental concerns surrounding the various bridges. We heard the RSC talk about plastic bags, greenhouse gas, grease, insulation. Somewhere in there wasn't effluence, but on your table outside, you're a member of a group of what looks like about a dozen communities, and it's titled Correcting Improper Sewer Connections and How You Can Help Clean Up Long Island Sound. And on the back it says, City of Rye Engineering Department. One way you can do that is to clean up Hen Island. And then you have, from the City of Rye Engineering Department, another pamphlet that says, Municipal Separate Stormwater Sewer Systems and You. A wonderful and difficult alliteration. And then it says, don't dump. This creek flows to Long Island Sound. So here you have 34 homes directly on Long Island Sound, all of which are polluting with human effluents and gray waters, which include, by the way, bleach, because that's one of the things that they use a great deal of, both in their non-potable water tanks, the runoff from their roofs, and also within the properties, because it's the only thing that can clean out the mold. They also use, the water in the kitchen is also used to clean the same grease that you would use in your homes. It just results from cooking. So some of the things that we heard tonight are the things that are still a problem on Hen Island. The composting toilets don't solve any of these. As I understand it, you're running on an environmental platform. How do you address the issue of there being, I don't think you were here for the first part of it, but...
I'm sorry,
no, that's okay. But I can do it in one sentence, though. Composting toilets require a good deal of electricity. Many of the homes on Hen Island don't have electricity. So the composting systems won't work at all. How does that become a solution acceptable to the council if it doesn't even meet its own requirements? Mr. Pickup.
You can address to the chair. Is there anything else that you'd like to address? Because your 5 minutes are up.
Pardon me?
5 minutes are up. Anything else you'd like to
address?
address?
Everyone who's come up here before has exceeded 5 minutes. You've had discussions with them. I've never had a difficulty. I'm asking a question. It's not a threatening question. It's not a lawsuit question. Everyone else has exceeded the time. You can extend me that courtesy. I understand it, but this is your job.
We've covered this ground already before.
You haven't covered this job. No one had this question. No one has ever answered the question, asked politely, of how do you justify allowing electric devices to satisfy a position that cannot be satisfied without electricity when you know that some of the homes that will install the composting toilets don't have electricity. It's not a legal question. It's a common sense question. It's a reasonable question to ask of adults. So I ask you, Mr. Pickup, it's not a threatening question. If you have an answer or a solution, I'm open to it.
Mr. Glass, I'm sure you're aware that there's an association that operates at Cooter Island. I believe you've probably addressed them on multiple occasions.
I've never addressed it.
Well, that's unfortunate, because if you had, or if you would, I think they would answer some of your questions.
I
The
don't
city
work
is
for them.
working in conjunction with our regulatory agency, which is the County Health Department. This is the regulatory solution that has been offered and approved, and I would suggest that you direct some of those questions directly to the board of the Cooter Island Association, and I'm sure they can answer your questions directly.
Yeah, and I would just add, the county has tested the water in and around Hen Island. The tests are negative. So we've looked at the complaint. There's nothing beyond that. So that's where we stand tonight. If there's anything else that you'd like to address.
All right, we'll pick it up again.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other residents? No? Okay. Well,
Mr. Mayor, you say that the county has tested the water in and around Hen Island.
correct. On a regular basis.
If the county has tested the water, and the water is okay, and there's no problems on Hen Island, then why are we installing composting systems? If they're not polluting out there, why is the city saying that?
That's an action that the board took at Hen Island. So you can speak to them.
It was an action of the board, so the city wasn't asking them to do that, the county wasn't asking them to come up with a solution. Because when I went to the meeting in Hen Island, they told me that the city of Rye and the county of Westchester told them that if they didn't approve these systems, that they were going to close the island down. Is that true, or is that not
I
true?
wasn't in that meeting, no.
Well, I sent a letter into Mrs. Wilson, and I asked her, I made a couple of statements that I received from the Board of Directors on Hen Island, and I asked her if those statements were true. I sent you that letter about, what, 2 months ago, Ms. Wilson?
Approximately.
Can you tell me why you never answered me?
I was not at that meeting, Mr. Tartaglia. and
Well,
I don't know
why didn't you
what-
send me back a letter and say I was not at that meeting? Why didn't you answer my letter?
Is there another issue you want to address?
I'm asking her a question. What do you mean, is there another issue? I'm on this issue.
Well, I'm the chair of this board, and you...
So that means that my questions aren't important?
No.
You
She gave you an
interrupt
answer.
me? You
She wasn't
interrupt
in
me
the
like
meeting.
you interrupt Mr. Glass? I asked her a question. Can we have a dialogue? Am I not allowed to have a dialogue here?
No,
What is this?
we've been through this already. The county has tested the water, negative results.
We passed that, sir. I got that. I asked
Right.
Ms. Wilson why, when I send the city a letter, why I don't get a response. That was my question.
She said
Can
she
she
wasn't
answer?
at the meeting. She just responded to your question.
No, she said she wasn't at the meeting, but she
Correct.
never answered my letter. My question was, why didn't you answer my letter? If the answer to my letter was that you weren't at the meeting, why didn't you send me back a letter that says I wasn't at the meeting?
I'm providing you with my answer tonight, Mr. Tartaglia. And I was not at that meeting. That's all I can say to
Were you ever at any meetings relative to the problems on Hen Island with sewage, potable water, and mosquitoes?
Meetings where?
Anywhere?
With
In the city?
With the Cooter Island.
In
I
the-
was never at a Cooter Island County Board meeting, no.
Were you ever at a meeting?
What are you getting at? Is there-
I'm trying to find out if this council believes that there's a problem on Hen Island, or if it believes there is
No,
not a
this
problem.
council believes that you filed a complaint. We asked the city manager to look into it. The county said that the water has proved negative with the test results. They test it on a regular basis.
So what you're saying to me is this council believes that there's no problems with the potable water on Hen Island.
That's a separate issue.
Well,
I'm talking about,
let's talk about 3 issues. Let's talk about mosquitoes, let's talk about potable water, and let's talk about sewage.
and we have
Does
talked about...
this council think that there are any problems with relation to those 3 issues on Hen Island?
This council thinks, as we have said, that the county is our agency that we look to for health and environmental matters, and we look to them for their guidance and insight, and that's what we've done here.
So when you looked to them for their guidance and insight, what was your interpretation of the issues on Hen Island? Is there a problem, or is there not a problem?
When it comes to mosquitoes, it's not a problem that the county or the city have to address.
Okay, so your position is when it comes to mosquitoes, there's no problems. Now, my next question is, when it
No,
comes to sewage...
that is what they have told us.
Okay, and when it comes to sewage, is there a sewage problem on Hen Island?
The test results have proved negative.
Okay. When it comes to potable water, is there a problem on Hen Island?
I think that depends on the definition of a dwelling, according to the New York State.
Well, what's your definition? Since you're the governing board, you're the city of Rye, could you tell me if there's a problem with the water that's collected on Hen Island and used in the houses? Either there is a problem or there isn't a problem. If there's no problem, then that's your
It's the
position.
definition of potable water.
The definition of potable water?
Potable water,
The
yes.
definition of potable water is water that meets state minimum requirements. That's the definition, according to the state laws.
Right.
So my question to you is, does the city of Rye believe that there's any problems with the water that's being used on Hen
It
Island?
depends on the definition of the dwelling, and the dwellings on Hen Island do not necessarily meet the same criteria as we do here in the city, correct?
The city does not, based on what the building department enforces and interprets and enforces within the city, I'm not talking about, I'm not speaking for the county, I'm speaking only for the city, there are no issues with respect to potable water. There is, what occurs on Hen Island meets our standards.
So collecting rainwater off the roof on Hen Island, using it in the house to bathe and shower and wash and cook is acceptable to the city of Rye. Is that what you just said to me? Am I correct?
No, those are your words.
I'm sorry?
Those are your words.
Well, I was just asking her.
No, she was just saying.
Maybe she could elaborate on what you were saying to me, because I have a difficult time understanding if the city of Rye...
You know what, we've spent enough time on this, we're going to move on with the agenda. You know what the answer is. We've
No,
given
I
it
don't
to
know
you.
what the answer is, so
We've
I'm just
given
trying
it
to get a
you.
little clarification. I know you'd like to end this conversation.
No.
But I wouldn't, I'd like to get clarification. I now found out that the city of Rye feels that the sewage systems on Hen Island are not a problem, and I now found out that the city of Rye believes that the mosquito issue on Hen Island is not a problem.
No, that's not what I said.
But it's not what you said.
Yeah, I said the county has said that the water tests around the island have proved negative. And the county has said that the mosquitoes are not a problem that the city or the county need to address.
So if it's not a problem that the city or the county needs to address, then the city is satisfied with the sewer systems on Hen Island, correct? That's a good deduction to make, isn't it?
You can do that on your own time. Anything else you want to add, Kristen?
No.
Okay, Scott?
No, I think we're satisfied with where we are currently, and we're working with the association cooperatively. I would suggest, Mr. Tartaglione, you try the same approach. It's amazing what you can do.
Try to do the same approach to what, sir? If the city says that there's no
Working
problems on Hen
cooperatively,
Island,
working
then I believe there's no
cooperatively with
problem.
people to solve problems. It's amazing what can happen when you do that right.
When I do what? I'm sorry,
All right.
I didn't hear you, Mr.
We're going to move on. Thank you.